I'm Danielle Frost. I'll be your host today. We're in Studio 2, and today we have Corbin Hosler, who is a stay-at-home dad slash freelance reporter slash super awesome magic expert. So how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I would be just here alone if you weren't with me. So, tell me, I know that magic is a really big, broad thing that takes, at least 12 hours to explain, in length. But
Sure.
Is there any way you can kind of, summarize it? So
I can do my best. It's essentially a game played with a deck of cards. It's kind of a mix between poker and chess, in that there's both variance involved as well as an element of skill. So, in that sense, you're playing poker, you can make the right decisions, but you don't necessarily know what's going to be come off the top of the deck. So, it's a very strategic, sort of high-level thinking type of game that is also a lot of fun for a lot of people. And yeah, so what I do is, I used to work as a newspaper. I have a journalism degree, and I now cover tournaments in the same way that you would cover a sports tournament. I travel around the country and write about them, and who wins and who's doing well, and all these sort of human interest angles and all these stories, much the way that you would in a traditional setting.
that's awesome. So is there so in the vein of sort of covering sports, is there players that are more well known?
Oh yeah, there's a crop of pros who make their living playing the game, and they walk into a room and they sign 10 autographs before they're in the door. So there's definitely that
cool.
there's definitely this this level within this world, right?
Yeah.
So they live a very interesting life. They fly around playing high stakes card games for a living. It's very interesting.
Can you make money off of it too? Or?
Yeah. First place at a couple of weeks ago, I was in Seattle covering the World Championship, and the first place was $70,000 to the winner. So that was that person had a very good year.
Yeah.
So.
Man, maybe I need to get into this card game. Where are some of your favorite places that you've gotten to go?
Yeah, I've traveled to some pretty good places. I've been to Hawaii once. I have a trip to Hawaii coming up next month as well. I got to go to France.
Okay.
Last year, that was pretty good.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some more about that right when we come back. We're going to take a quick break.
Oklahoma isn't your room. So don't trash it.
This is my city. This is where I learn. Play, work, eat. This is my city. This is my home.
Hi, and we're back. I'm Danielle, and I'm still here with Corbin. And we were talking a little bit about traveling with coverage. And so you got to go to France, and you told me that you had the flu when you were in France, which is not...
Not the ideal way you want to, envision yourself taking that trip, but I wasn't going to miss my trip to France.
That's
so
totally
I just, probably made a bad decision and flew sick. But
I'm sure that if anybody got sick on the plane, they don't blame you.
They don't know to blame me, at least,
Yeah,
so I'm in the clear.
You're like a sleeper agent, but with the flu. I gotcha. So was that probably your worst travel
That
experience?
was, that was pretty bad, right? And then I was there and I was trying to work and I couldn't, I had lost my voice from being sick, so I couldn't really talk. So that was bad, but on the plus side, I was in France. So
yeah,
that made up for it a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, you just have the normal struggles of airline losing your luggage, flight gets changed, you have to run across an airport, all that sort of stuff, right? As long as the people on the plane next to you are relatively kind or leave you alone, that's sort of the secret to traveling.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. Is it versus like when you're traveling in coverage? Is it like different once you kind of leave the country, or is it kind of like
Yeah,
same?
I've had a couple experiences in Europe, for instance, and it's very different than the United States, you know. And I think the thing that most people just take for granted, you don't realize, is once your phone doesn't work, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like I get into town and I want to pull out my phone, look for directions. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to print this off like old school. You know, it's.
Oh no.
I've definitely had some experiences arriving, arriving in Canada a few times and just not knowing where to go. So
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, how do I look things up? I can't.
yeah, it's like yeah, I guess I have to ask somebody, interact with other human beings.
No.
It's just not.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't like to do that. But so how do you kind of balance that with being a stay-at-home dad if you have to travel?
It's
a
like
lot?
two different lives essentially. Like when I'm at home, I'm doing my thing, and that's great. And then when I'm on the road, just kind of kick into work mode and talk to people mode and do all of that. And it's just very different.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of compartmentalize the two.
Does it get like kind of? Do you miss? I mean, obviously you miss your family, but.
Yeah, when I'm on the road, I miss being at home, and sometimes when I'm at home, I miss the interactions on the road. And I enjoy both.
All right. Well, thank you for coming and visiting
Yeah.
today, and thanks so much for talking to me. We're gonna leave now. Thanks.